Good morning, everybody. It's Sunday morning, and I've decided to have a little bit of a crack at this this new seat, a base, foam base that I'm building. That's the old one, as you remember. I cut it down, took 20 millimeters off the top of it, and made a couple little alterations here on the side. Sorry for the camera work. So yeah, I'm going to make a new one. So I've took some measurements, that's about a 5mm lip there, and then we've got this little plateau here which I've allowed for. So marked it out. I've got my 5mm lip which goes over the seat pan so that the vinyl doesn't rub through, and we've now got our plateau. And I'm going to have a go at doing the other side. I've never done this before, so it's trial and error. Only cost me $20 for the piece of high density foam. So if I mess it up, it's it's not that expensive to go and have another go. You always learn from your mistakes. So what I've done here is I've measured down on the seat to where that plateau starts, and that's 15 millimeters. So I've made a mark here at the back. I hope that camera's right. Made just a 15 millimeter mark across there, and what I do is I'm just going to cut down 15 mil. Just on the inside of that 5mm line. Sort of a bit not scary is not the word, but you're a bit apprehensive when you cut it because you're not really sure if you're going to take too much out of it or you're going to cut it in the wrong place. So yeah, it's just as I said, it's trial and error. And the old seat pad is not a perfect fit anyway. Even after I've modified it, it's not a perfect fit. And so yeah, this is the opportunity to get it to fit right. So I've left a little bit more meat on all the sections I need to cut. This is the hardest bit where two bits intersect, because you don't want to go too deep. And especially this way, if I go too deep on this, I'll cut straight through it and I'll lose that nice 5mm edge that I need to go over the seat pan. So with these carving knives, you never ever seem to get right into the corner. See, that started to lift off there, which is great. You can peel it away a bit, which is good. It's a matter of knowing if you're deep enough or wide enough. Definitely deep enough now. Just saw that. There we go. Got that. Got that. And yeah, that's the hard bit, cutting into the corners, because the carving knife blade's round, so you can't do these square corners. So I've got this. They say a bread knife is probably better, but if you've got a really sharp chopping knife, they also say that's good as well. But the bread knife tends to leave a lot of the foam really serrated. So it's like filleting a cow or something. So as you can see, I got my 5mm. It is a little more than 5mm, but I've cut this side of the line to allow for any mistakes. I can always, if I want to trim that back, I can always trim it back with the knife, or I can trim it back with the flat disc. Because all this here, where I'm going to shape this, see there's a fairly big step there. I didn't take too much out of there. I'm going to bring that down with the flat disc and blend it in. What else do I need to do? I need to get the angle on the front of it. So so I hope that's right. I hope that angle's right. And that's the thing. This is the hardest bit, the angle, because if it's not right, it's going to show up on the tank. See, I'm not liking that already. Maybe I should have set that back a little bit. But there's so much foam missing from this. Just see where that sits on the corner. I want it right on the corner. So that's probably a better. I'd rather cut it too long than cut it too short. So scrub that one out. And what I'll do so that I get the angles right is I'll just take a measurement from here. At least it'll be even. That's 80mm. You have to excuse my sniffles this morning as well. I think I'm getting a cold, a little bit run down and stressed out at the moment with things going on at work. And yeah, so now we come down 10mm because this seat has to taper. It tapers down and then it tapers up, so it's actually sunk in the middle. So we stick with 10mm there. So I'll just going to clean this line up a little bit. And then here, come down 10mm. Guys, I could be completely wrong with the way I'm doing this. You know, that's why I always ask for feedback. I don't tend to get many people viewing my channel. I know my videos are long and boring and I don't edit and I don't put music and stuff there, but you know, that's just me. That's the way, you know, I like things plain and simple. And if anything, YouTube is more of like a library to store my videos. You know, I never expected to get subscribers in or whatever they've got now. You can PayPal subscribe and Patreons and all that sort of stuff. Never expected that, never wanted that, don't have it. I think it would take a miracle for me to achieve that. So, yeah, so what we're looking at the moment, I'll move this knife out of the way. So that's what we got at the moment. Let me line them up a bit better for you. You can see I've still got some to take out of here. if I'm to match this one, which I have to, and obviously the corners need to be rounded, which will get done with the flap disc. So yeah, it does look a bit chunky, and it looks like it's sitting a hell of a lot higher at the front, but that's because this seat slopes down and then it slopes up again. So it's bananaed. And this one is flat. So what I'm going to do, I think, is I'm going to start, when it comes to working on the top of it, I'm going to start with the flap disc, and I'm going to get the radiuses on the corner. And then I'll start to take what I need out of the center. And again, although this is not a perfect template, I can use this to mark out the shape. But what I want to do is I want to get this to sit on the pan correctly first before I start doing anything to the top of it. As you can see, I've got plenty of foam to play with there, so I can deal with that later. But I've got to get it to sit on the pan properly first. So yeah, this is where we're at. Blah 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 blah. Tongue tied this morning. I might just take a little bit more out here, a bit more of an angle. It became very steep. When I remolded the pan, the hump at the back here became very steep compared to what it was. So if it looks slightly different to this one, it is. But yeah, I'm sort of happy with the progress that we're making at the moment. Underneath too, I've also got to, you can see here I've just pulled out chunks of foam just to make a little hole, little crevice there, because that's where the bolt in the fuel tank sticks up and the stretchy strap that holds it down on the frame. So I need some clearance for that strap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out and trial fit this. Just going to see how it goes, and then come back in and make any alterations I need to make. Okay guys, it seems to be sitting quite well at the back now. I've cut a little bit more out of it. I'm not going to cut any more out of it. I'm going to use the flap disc and get the rest of this smooth. But what I've got to concentrate on now is cutting along here for that lip, and obviously taking out the 15mm out of this section to get it to sit flat on the pan. So we're going to have a go at that. Always scary stuff. And just put a little reference mark on the front here. It's a generous 15, as I said, guys, because if I stuff it up, I'm going to need to I'm going to need that little bit of extra material to try and make good. There we go, we just freehand that round there like that. Don't actually know if the front needs it, because as I said in the past, I've modified the front of it. I've chopped down the pan, so yeah, but I can always leave a bit on. Alright, here we go. From what I've worked out, guys, it's probably advisable too to angle your knife in towards the center, because it's very easy to think you're straight but you're actually leaning the blade out. Okay, that cut through there quite nice. And that was just now what I just mentioned was just something I realised then. You know, that's ample. That's exactly probably the right thickness compared to the old one. This is a little thicker at the back, which doesn't really matter because I've got all the mounting bolts and everything that come through the seat. So this will just, you know, that extra cut 3mm or whatever it is actually will help with the bolts. So we'll keep going. It's really hard to gauge a depth here. So I'm just sort of stopping every few, you know, 20mm or something along, and just sort of peeling it back to have a look. Looks alright at the moment. And here we go, around the corner. Yeah, looking good. Yeah, not too bad. Probably a little less at the front at the moment, but that's alright. Okay, so that's done. So what I actually need to do now is cut out of the centerpiece exactly 15mm out of the guts of it. So I'm going to do it in sections. I think what I'll do is I'll make a wedge cut down the guts. I'm guessing that the blade is probably, what's the blade? The blade's 15mm. So if I use the blade depth as a reference, there we go, that should be 15mm there. And then we'll do the same this side. And now that we've got this wedge shape, I'll try and straighten the blade out and go straight across. Hopefully it matches up. If I've kept it straight. There we go. Obviously didn't cover part at the front because I haven't made an incision here, and the blade doesn't go all the way to the top, so I'll just make an incision here. damn it. There we go. Just clean it up a little bit. There we go. There's certain bits you can clean up with a knife, but the flat disc is much better, gives you much nicer control. So we'll do the same here. We'll do another 15mm cut. These ones can remain straight because we have the centre cut out now, so that's all good. I don't want to, I could go technically straight across, but I'd rather do it in small portions. Okay, there we go. Sort of nice when you do hit that downward cut line, you see it lift, and it's quite a relief because you know you're on track. The good thing with the foam too is that if I make a mistake, I can always glue it back in. It won't be seen because it's sitting on the pan, so here we go again, guys. Another cut. Here we go. Started to lift. Got to be so careful, even though it starts to lift out. If you get one bit like that that's caught, you can end up pulling out a whole chunk. So very, very hard to cut thin slices. You can see there how it started to bite in just when I tried to take that out to level it up. Alright. So the next one should actually be our final cut, and that's out to the 5mm perimeter. We still have to do the front here, but I'll wait and we'll get this done first. Now I'm going to do this in two sections, so I'm going to cut it now. The reason I want to do that is because I can't afford to stuff it up. I've got this far and it's going well so far. So let's just take our time. We're going to peel that back, or try and hold it back. Or the other thing I could do is stick. I just thought of this. Okay, this is Corey's brainwave for the day. My thought for the day. So I could stick that ruler in there and cut across. Obviously when I hit the ruler, from there. I'm not going to slip and take the edge off it. So we'll do the same here. I'll make a little cut there, and it's a bit awkward, guys, being right-handed trying to film this. There's no real good way to do it, but here we go. We'll give it another shot. Let's hit the ruler now. It's just the front bit that's not letting go. Probably, why with that? Oh no, a little bit at the back here. A little bit at the back. Whoops. There we go. That's better. There we go. As you can see, we've got to keep that nice little 5mm perimeter around it. We'll do the other side as well. So yeah, we've cut that in the middle, and I might cut this one up the front too. There we go. And those that watch my channels, my channel and my vids, you're very patient people, you're very tolerant. I thank you for watching, because I'm learning. It's stuff we can probably share. Got to make sure. Ooh, okay. Got to be a bit careful there. For some reason that blade went underneath the ruler. Just nicked that 5mm area. Yeah, that's a better sound. The other day when I went in to actually get this foam, and I took this old seat base in, like that's nothing special, but the guy that was cutting me this block asked, how'd you get it so smooth? Because I told him I took 20mm off it. I said I got on YouTube and just looked up how to cut foam for a motorbike seat, and one guy was using a flap disc, an 80 grit flap disc, and I went out and tried it thinking it was going to tear the thing to pieces, and it actually worked beautiful. So he said, can I take that into my boss and show him what you've done? Because they said that they always tell people, once you cut it, you're always sort of left with this rough finish. So he takes it into his boss, who's like 60 something, been working there for 30 odd years. He explains to his boss that I've got this finish with a flap disc. His boss actually asked me if I wanted a job there. Unbelievable. So I taught a guy that's been in the industry 30 odd years, probably nearly 40 years, something, simply because I went looking for it and someone else had done it. So, might be something I'm doing now that you haven't seen and might work out good for you. Pop. So there we go, guys. This is going to be a long video today, and I do apologise, but it's a time-consuming job. But we're starting to get there. We've got shape, and I think it's going to work out nice. It's my first one, and at the end of the day, even if it's not perfect, it's got to be better than this old one. So, because there's not much left of it on the sides there. You know, there's a good, what, in some spots there's like an inch missing, there's half an inch missing. So, yeah. Alright, we'll have a go at this. We'll have a go at doing this, same as we did before. So we'll take a wedge cut. Out of there, so the width of the blade. And then we should be able to straighten it out and come across and take our piece out. Can be a little bit difficult here too. I've got my cuts, but I'm going to be really careful. Don't want to pull out any bits. Don't need to be pulled out, you know. It's probably the third time I've said that. Trust me, I'm not the most annoying person on YouTube. But when it's your video, you can do as you please. Alright, here we go. I am going to try and run this to the edge this time, being a small section. Like, watch out for the fingers. It's really hard to get the blade flat as well, because you've got the body of the knife, the handle part of the knife that's trying to ride above the foam. There we go, there's one bit. So yeah, I got a good cut sideways, but I didn't get a good cut around the front, as you can see. But be so careful, because these bloody knives, they'll make a mess of your finger, because the two blades moving back and forth. They'll trap the skin in there, and they'll give you a nasty cut. There we go, guys. Not 100% perfect, but good starting base. Now, just by looking at that myself, it looks a little bit lower, a little bit higher here in the front. So let me grab my trusty old ruler and allowing for that. Don't know why they do that. I don't know why they have to add a little bit there on rulers. But if I take that down, if I push that down, that's about 18 mil. We said 15. If I come up to here, it's about 10 mil. So it's a little bit deeper there. So I can pull most of this out with the flat disc. And the thing is, even if I end up with, say, even 20 mil of a lip there, it doesn't matter, because once I pull it down over the pan, I can trim it off. So all good. Yeah, I'm going to go out and trial fit it again. I'll probably just try and take this down another couple of mil if I can. Because once you use those flat discs, God, they make a mess. It's just, you've got to wear a mask too, guys. It's just so messy. Does such an excellent job, but it is messy. Sort of like carving a Sunday roast. You know? Oh yeah, that's a nice fit. Unfortunately, there's no crackling on it. Gotta love the pork crackling. Okay, that's probably as much as I dare take off. I think the rest of it is going to be a flat disc job. And yeah, so I can't help myself, I get addicted to this stuff. It's like just when you think you're finished, you spot something else that you, oh yeah, I can get rid of that. I think it's that typical thing with most people where, you know, you want it done then and there. And you'd love to get it done in one process, one stage if you could, rather than have to do multiples. So anyway guys, I'm going to go out and test fit this and see how we go. Okay guys, I'm out in the garage trial fitting that piece of foam. Now, as you can see, there's the pan, and there's the lip I was talking about, like the 15 millimeter lip for this to sit over. So if I get this roughly done, you can see how beautiful that sits over there. Okay, it covers that lip, so it's going to give the vinyl some protection. Now, if I put a bit of weight on the front, you can see that it sort of sits up a little bit at the back. Now that means I've got to take a little bit more foam out from around this section here to get it to sit a little bit flatter. But you can see that sits nice along there, and then taking that bit out of the center will help it sit a bit better down here on this back corner. I'm going to try and sit this on this toolbox, and hopefully you can still see it. Like the edges down over the other side, and obviously a little bit of assistance here. It's not going to be perfect. The seat pan's 40 odd years old, and it's, you know, it's a little bent, but you know, once you pull the vinyl over that and you pull that down flat, that's going to sit nice. Okay, she's not too bad. Try and give you a look with some pressure on the back. So that's with pressure on it, but if I take that foam out, it'll sit a lot better. There's not too much of a gap under there. I'm going to try and film this. I've never done this before, upside down. So hopefully the angle's right. Oops, let's go to here. Inside the swing arm. So once the vinyl's pulled down, guys, because you pull it down and you pull it under. Once that's pulled down, you see how that covers the corner? I'll lift this up now for you. You see how that covers the corner? And it gives you a pretty nice finish at the back too. So I think this is going to work out pretty good. So yeah, it just looks like we've got to take a little bit more out of this Oops, I can't do both things at once. I'm terrible. I've got to take a little bit more out of this section here where I'm rubbing my thumb to get over this humpy section here, and yeah, we should be right. We should be right to go, guys. So I've probably kicked the goal. Remember how I said it was a bit deeper at the front than on the sides? Well, the one thing I forgot was that it did kick up here. This was one of the original fastening points for the RM370 seat. And I can cut this off if I wanted to, but there's metal plates in there because these were threaded nuts, obviously for the attachment points. So that's actually worked out really well. I'm happy with that. Now let's get that foam set up. So that foam's set up. Now you see the line I scribbled out that would have sat back behind the seat base, but the line that I marked, the second line that I marked, is right on the seat base. So yeah, the old what do they call it, analogy, measure twice, cut once. I think I got it right today. I think I got it right. So yeah, all good. Other news, the back brake hub, I ended up getting the cam pin, as you know, and I got all of this sent through from Mick Hone, Suzuki. Guy's been absolutely fantastic in helping me piece together a braking system for this. We drilled the hole out in the hub the other night to take the new cam, because the new cam I think measured in at 13.5 and the original KTM hole was 12mm. So that's all been done. That all fits. It's good. I haven't got it here. I accidentally left it at the Hot Rod Club meeting the other night, so I'll pick it up sometime this week or just on Thursday when I go to the club meeting, and then I can get the wheel back together. I haven't done much more with the brake lever, but I have worked out you know, where the tabs have got to go and this, that and the other, and so I know what's happening with this, and this will work fine. I do have to make up a proper spacer for in here. I've just got a bit of old thin gauge tubing in there as a spacer. Like it works, but as you can see, it's a little bit wobbly, and that hole that I did drill at the time, I was basing it off the YZ80D axle or shaft that was going to go through there, so I ground it out to that size. But then I didn't know I was going to end up with a DT175 brake pedal, which had a smaller diameter. So what I can do is just run some weld around the inside of the hole and then re-drill it out to the size of the DT shaft, and that'll make it a lot tighter. Like I said, I don't care if there's a bit of play in the pedal, as long as the pedal works. But if I can get it right, I'll get it right. I've had to modify that, as I think I mentioned one time in a previous video, that tab was up here somewhere, but it's not going to work obviously with the swing arm. So I've had to rebend the spring. The spring will, and I've put a groove in the front here, so that spring, when it's all sitting properly, that spring sits in that groove. And I've got to weld a pin on here to take the other end of that spring. So yeah, so that's spring loaded, and this will get either welded on, it can get welded on anywhere really. It can get welded on the back here, it can get welded on the bottom here, but it can't, obviously it can't go back on the top. And when this goes onto the back wheel, rather than it hanging down, it will have to be mounted in an upright position, because as you push down on the pedal, it will want to come forward. If I left it on the bottom and I push down, I've got to think about this, guys, because I could be completely wrong here. Oh, actually, it will push the mechanism back. It would still work, actually. It would work. It would still rotate the cam 45 degrees or whatever it is. So yeah, that's going to be a trial and error thing. I'll get the wheel mounted back in here. I'll get the arm bolted onto the cam, and I'll just sit here with the bar and I'll just play with it and see what works. And then I'll know exactly where to weld this tab. So all's good.